Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 19 of Play-by-Play, the daily wrestling podcast with me, Atif Nawaz. And today I've got a very special guest joining me. Arman is still on his travels across Europe, making his movie, being all glamorous and stuff. So I've drafted in some help, and I've drafted in help all the way from the United States of America. Please welcome the gentleman joining me, Mr. Rich Latta. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm excited to be on the show. I've been checking you guys out ever since your first show. Before you guys even put a show out, I was down with the play-by-play movement. You guys had good energy on Twitter, and why not decide to, within the wrestling community, when I first got started, a lot of people reached out to me. So, I'm just keeping the goodwill going.
That's fantastic, man. Well, we're going to talk about loads of fun stuff, but before we do that, I just want to do a couple of shout-outs. First and foremost to our lovely partners at eWrestlingNews.com. eWrestling News is a fantastic website on the internet that amalgamates news. It allows anybody to put the news and features and thoughts up on that website, so check them out. And, of course, you can find links to all the old play-by-play episodes on there as well. And, of course, Top Rope Press, our friends there, who also have a fantastic website. So check out Top Rope Press, check out eWrestling News. Today, Rich and I are going to be talking about the Hall of Fame, who's going in the Hall of Fame, how we feel about them. We'll talk a little bit about Mr. Schwarzenegger, who was recently confirmed to be in the Hall of Fame, and we'll talk about people who we'd like to go in the Hall of Fame. But very firstly, Rich, because it is Friday, and that's now the new SmackDown review day. What did you think of SmackDown yesterday? Did you like it?
SmackDown was good. I think they kind of set the expectations a little high, but it turned out to kind of just be like a regular SmackDown. But the casket match was cool, and it was great to see Daniel Bryan actually get rid of Kane. He's like 39-0 lifetime against him now, and he can just move on to something else.
Yeah, and it was a really cool match. I really enjoyed the casket match, actually. I thought initially, because recently the WWE's been doing this thing where they're putting a lot of gimmick matches out there without any real build-up. So we had the ambulance match between Bray Wyatt and Dean Ambrose, seemingly for no reason. But I guess they built up this feud over 3 or 4 matches, and this is finally like a proper full stop on that feud. It's done. Bryan won. Just to get your thoughts, man, about Triple H. Like at the start of the show, he talked about a really big announcement that he had planned, a really big announcement, and everybody was quite curious because he said it would pertain to the Royal Rumble match itself and the controversy surrounding it. How do you feel about that? And do you have any thoughts what that could be?
I feel like it's about to be a swerve. Like thinks, oh, they're gonna add Daniel Bryan in, but I think they're actually gonna. This Curtis Axel thing has legs. Like they're gonna allow Reigns and Axel to have a match for the Roman Reigns or for the spot in WrestleMania, and Curtis Axel is gonna get squashed within 2 or 3 minutes. I really think that's all they're gonna do.
You think it's going to be Curtis Axel? Oh, the poor guy. I mean, that was so horrible what they did to him at the Rumble. Can you imagine what he felt like when he got his booking that day? You got to come out, and then you're going to get destroyed, and then you're going to go home. So, yeah. Okay, so you think... So, yeah, I mean, that was my instant thought. I thought, okay, they're going to find a way to try and sneak Bryan in there, because a lot of the podcasts I've been listening to, a lot of articles I've been reading, they've all implied that Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns is not an ideal main event. It's not going to draw properly. It's not going to get the right kind of crowd heat. And on top of all of that, even though they did a really nice segment on Raw, there was a great segment, but I don't think that match can sell WrestleMania. Arman thinks it can. I'm still not convinced. How do you feel about that match?
Well, one match doesn't typically sell WrestleMania anymore. Like back in the Hulk Hogan era, it may have, but if you look at all the WrestleManias probably since 19 or maybe even 18, there's many main event caliber matches. WrestleMania, the brand, is going to sell itself now, and then with the WWE Network, they really don't have to worry about selling anything. That's like the elephant in the room with all this. They've already got our money.
Yeah, that's true. They do. I guess with the network, you're absolutely right. I guess that cancelled WWE Network hashtag was a big misfire for me because I think people who get the network don't necessarily get it for all the pay-per-views or the new content. I think it's really about old school fans who want to relive, the late 80s, early 90s, late 90s even. So there's so much amazing content on there from back in the day. It's not necessarily a deterrent to have a shoddy product in the current day. But even so, I mean, the fans want Daniel Bryan. I mean, he was still getting a massive cheer on. If not Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. If that is the match to go ahead, and I speculate a little bit about what I'd like to do, Brian to do. I talked about him wanting the IC championship. I know you wrote something very similar, but what would you like to see Brian doing at WrestleMania?
I don't. Brian is it's a tough situation because if you look at the card, it seems like a lot of the top guys are locked up, but there's a few guys hanging out. There's three guys in my opinion he could wrestle. One would be Seth Rollins. They'd get together and they'd melt the arena. We saw flashes of that when Rollins was in the Shield. Those guys are both Ring of Honor vets, and how Ring of Honor gets down. They could play off the Bray Wyatt Daniel Bryan thing. Bray Wyatt has pretty much owned them. They could easily build a video package based off their feud last year. He's already has a win over him. He threw him out the Royal Rumble. Or why not give him the Undertaker? Bryan's a safe guy in the ring. The match is going to be good. Undertaker isn't what he was anymore, but it could just be a respect type thing. But those three guys, and I forgot Dolph Ziggler. That's the movement on Twitter right now. It'd be a good match, but it's almost just not good enough. Like I hate to sound like a Daniel Bryan snob, but like nothing's good enough for him. But Daniel Bryan, I mean, if they look at the crowd, I mean that's all they have to do. Bryan's our guy.
He is. It's hard to accept anything for Daniel Bryan less than the World Heavyweight Championship. But I guess, and I tried to take Arman's side on this a little bit, I guess we have to. And Arman's point was that, going forward, he probably will get to headline WrestleManias again. He probably will. But then I like Wade Keller's point, Wade Keller of PW Torch. He talked about how Roman Reigns will eventually be the man in WWE. There's no denying that. He's got everything, and he'll slowly build the things that he doesn't have. But while you've got Bryan and he's hot, why wouldn't you just milk that run? Maybe for 6 months, 18 months, whatever it is you can get out of him. Why wouldn't you? But it just seems they just don't want to go in that direction. They're not keen on Bryan in that way.
Either that, or they're just kind of saving it for they want to put the belt on Reigns now and then make sure that they have something good for the second half of the year to keep people invested in Daniel Bryan's chase for the title, like SummerSlam through Survivor Series, because we all know after SummerSlam the wheels come off of WWE. Like, the past couple of years it's just been ridiculous after SummerSlam. But yeah.
You're right. It's the weakest point in the booking, really. That post SummerSlam period. Hey, listen. Here's a match I thought about today. I was just on the train in London today, and I was thinking about this. What do I want Bryan to do at WrestleMania? What could they have planned for Bryan at WrestleMania? And I thought about that ending at Royal Rumble with The Rock endorsing Roman Reigns and the fans just booing the living daylights out of both Reigns and The Rock. And there's that hilarious meme I've seen a few times on the internet. What if The Rock came back, cut a heel promo on the fans, and all of a sudden, could there be a Daniel Bryan versus The Rock match on the cards?
Ironically, I have a podcast as well, Everybody One Nation Radio. I had spoken to my partner James about Daniel Bryan versus The Rock with that same kind of idea. I think the idea under that has legs also because there was a tad bit of resentment for The Rock within the IWC and some of the more hardcore fans going into WrestleMania 29. WrestleMania 28, it was all good. We were like, beat John Cena, whatever. Then it was like he came back, took the belt off Punk. Punk was never the same. And they ran out a stale main event for WrestleMania 29, so he can easily turn heel. Especially, he can play off like, what do y'all mean y'all don't understand, what this is? This is the next me. Like, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to kill y'all hero, Daniel Bryan, and then, run it from there. And, Bryan's, took his little shots in his interview at Reigns and The Rock, and, I didn't have The Rock helping me out and all this other stuff. But Daniel Bryan versus The Rock, like, the match would be great. Daniel Bryan versus, a broom would be great right now. But,
let's not hope they go.
I just hope WWE realizes what they have. Like, they arguably have the greatest wrestler ever, like, on its hands right now.
Wow. See, and I thought I gave Bryan high praise. You're calling him one of the greatest wrestlers ever. And I really hope they don't do that broom thing. It just made me think of Perry Saturn. And
Moppy.
Moppy, yeah, Perry Saturn. That was hilarious, right? I mean, Saturn was a killer, and they just destroyed him anyway. So yeah, I mean, I think if you did get Bryan versus The Rock, then that would keep everybody happy because it's a big match befitting a star like Daniel Bryan. And then on the side, you wouldn't have so much resentment on this Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns match. I honestly don't think that's the way WWE booking is going at the moment, but I wish I could just send a carrier pigeon or something to Triple H. Make it happen, you know. I'm already pushing for SummerSlam. I've got to pick my battle. So anyway, Matt, so that's interesting. Did you have any other thoughts you wanted to get out about SmackDown?
The promo by Triple H was very good. The way he sized the NFL, and I couldn't tell whether he was being a face or not. But doing a wrestling Big Show does no one any favors. I just want to end with that. Wrestling Big Show does no one any favors, especially Roman Reigns.
I know you're not a fan, man. I love that line in your column the other day, you know, where you talked about it being like a Lifetime Achievement Award with him and Kane being in the last 3/4. So, yeah, no, I know you're not a fan of The Big Show. I used to really like The Big Show, actually. I think
Same here.
He's got to settle into that WWE Studios role. He's got to start doing more films and back away from the squared circle a little bit before he tarnishes his legacy too much.
If they're going to pay, look, keep getting them checks, Big Show, if they're going to pay you, but, you know, it's time, bro. It's time.
maybe the Hall of Fame next year. And hey,
right, Big Show, why not?
That's my sweet little segue into the next part of the show. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame. It's a great first inductee, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Nobody's going to have a problem with that. They revealed the first celebrity inductee into this imaginary celebrity wing, which I always find really bizarre because it's not a physical thing. So how can there be a wing? But anyway, there's a celebrity section of the Hall of Fame, and they've inducted Arnold Schwarzenegger. So they're going to induct Arnold Schwarzenegger into it this year. I don't know how I feel about that. How do you feel about that?
I was dumbfounded. When I first saw Arnold, I was like, hold on, he had to do something important that I'm just not remembering, because I like to think I have a pretty good memory when it comes to this stuff, but they just started breaking into the bodybuilding stuff and his movie stuff, and then I was like, hold on, where's the wrestling thing? Oh, he did a run-in on SmackDown with Triple H, and he punched him in the face. Oh, that's it? Like he didn't contribute to WrestleMania or anything like that? Oh, all right. WWE, they're trying to get a little bit of mainstream attention on, you know, WrestleMania weekend, and that's fine. I really don't, you know, I don't see what he has to do with wrestling, but at the same time, I don't trip over an imaginary Hall of Fame, you know.
I know what you mean, but there's other people who are maybe more deserving, and WWE always has a tendency to look at WWE stuff, but since they now own the WWE network and they're trying to legitimize themselves as like a documentation of all of the wrestling history, they've got AWA history now, they own WCW, WCCW stuff, so much of wrestling history belongs to WWE. I feel like they should represent it better, and along those lines, I was thinking one of the people who should really definitely be in the Celebrity Hall of Fame is Andy Kaufman, who had that incredible feud with Jerry Lawler. I mean, surely he should go in before Arnold.
Yes, and they could even have Lawler induct him.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
Oh, no, that was it.
That was it. They could have Lawler induct him. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that feud was incredible. They could have Jim Carrey come and induct him. You know, they could do all sorts of different things with that angle. And you know, he's somebody who's really contributed to the wrestling industry, and and there's been so many celebrities who've made a contribution to wrestling. Even people like, I mean, Pamela Anderson at that WrestleMania, she was more involved in this. Even Floyd Mayweather, he had a match.
Yes, that was my guy I was waiting for. Yes, Floyd Mayweather, and it would be kind of them swapping work because Mayweather's going to fight in May. So, you know, why not induct Mayweather in the Hall of Fame, and he can come up there and, you know, sell a little bit of his, you know, his ego and his, you know, boxing credentials, and say, hey, make sure, you know, I'm in the Hall of Fame here, but, you know, I'm going to whoop, you know, insert my opponent here's ass in May. That'd be like a great idea.
Yeah, and it would be, as you said, but the marketing as well, especially if Pacquiao comes through, and we're all hoping it does. And that'll be,
oh my gosh,
that'll be my trip to America planned. But yeah, so obviously I'd like. There's so many people I can think of, and you're right, they're going for that mainstream bit of attention, but it becomes the Hall of Fame itself loses a little bit of credibility every time they do that. They induct someone like that. I mean, I didn't have an issue with Pete Rose. Pete Rose. I mean, we don't know much about baseball here in the UK, or I certainly don't. Anyway, but you know, I know that he takes a really good tombstone. That, you know,
yes.
And he did that enough times. He played along with the product. I like that. Even Seth Green, you know, he's popped up on Raw a few times. I like that.
Yeah,
they've all made like reasonable contributions to the product. But I'm not sure about Arnold. I'm just not convinced he is in there. Is there anybody else you think? Is there anybody that comes to mind that you really wish they'd induct?
Yes, and this is going to be a good buddy of mine named John Canton. He's a writer on WhatCulture.com. He actually has an article about this, and he brought it to my attention about it. And I was like, why don't they induct Muhammad Ali into the WWE Hall of Fame? If you look at WrestleMania 1, he lent his credibility to it, and, it probably doesn't, WrestleMania probably gets off the ground, but it's a huge name, and Ali's older now. This could be Ali's final moment in the public eye. Why not try to, reach out and see if the prospect is there? He can't really speak as well, but it would just be a great gesture on their part just to show appreciation, and also like fans like myself, Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great shout. I don't know why. I just kind of thought he was already in there for some reason. I thought he might already be in the Hall of Fame. But I guess he isn't, right? It's just you just assume he is, but he isn't actually in there. That's a great shout. And as you say, that WrestleMania 1. I mean, Cindy Lauper's in the Hall of Fame. So and she was at WrestleMania 1, and Muhammad Ali was there as well. He deserves a shot, absolutely. And of course, he had that wrestler versus boxer match as well with Antonio Inoki. He's got loads of connections to the wrestling business. I was thinking about really silly ones as well. Really silly little inductees like RoboCop for his one-off in. Just something really bad. The Texas Ranger, Chuck Norris. Let's get Chuck Norris in the Hall of Fame.
Yes. I'd be down with Chuck Norris.
Yeah, see, there's so many little interesting shouts that'd be funny, that'd be different. Whereas I feel like Arnold's going to come. He might promote his movie. I guess they haven't announced who's going to induct him yet. Which is interesting because the obvious choice would be Hulk Hogan. Action movie stars, I guess. I guess Triple H will induct him, right?
I don't know. It depends on if Triple H is wrestling or not. Oh, excuse me, he's wrestling Sting. I think Triple H stays away because he runs the show at the Hall of Fame. I think. If you were inducting Schwarzenegger, it's probably Vince.
It's probably Vince, yeah, I guess so. He's the big boy, and he wants that big boy rub. And he's a mark for bodybuilders, isn't he? He loves the big body guys. There's a strong WWE bias as well. Now, over the years they've become more accustomed to bringing WCW names in, and maybe
I think this is the year to go crazy with it.
Yeah, I guess so, right? But maybe something like Lex Luger. I'd like to see Lex Luger go in the Hall of Fame. He's made some strong contributions. There's so much this point is all but retired. I don't think anybody would begrudge him a Hall of Fame induction. And if you're thinking about celebrities, and I always think back to WCW, my favorite celebrity to appear on there so many times was probably Dennis Rodman.
Oh yeah, Rodzilla was made for pro wrestling. If you guys, some of the younger listeners, if you guys would like to go check out Bash at the Beach 1997. Or excuse me, 97 and 98. Rodman wrestled in 97, and then in 98 he wrestled against Karl Malone with Diamond Dallas Page and Hulk Hogan in each of their corners, and it was very entertaining. The way the commentary just acted like everything Rodman did was just a world-class level, like a simple headlock or an arm drag. Like people were amazed. It was hilarious.
It was. He got into it. I really like that because a lot of times celebrities get in there. They have like a little crash course in what they're going to be doing in the ring, and sometimes they don't have credibility, like a David Arquette, who I guess maybe he's a good shout for the Hall of Fame.
Former WCW champion.
Absolutely, former WCW champion for whatever that meant at the time. So yeah, he's a good shout. And then I was also thinking like people like Karl Malone, and then Road Wild, I think, the same year. Well, I don't know if they called it Hog Wild or Road Wild at that point, WCW, but 97, 98. They also had Jay Leno at some point, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. And it was terrible.
Wouldn't be the worst shout in the world. Now, I remember, all I remember about Jay Leno is like that he held Hulk Hogan in an armbar for like 20 minutes while photographers took pictures at ringside because they were like so...
Armbar.
Armbar. Chris Jericho shout out. Well, there's a whole bunch of names in the Hall of Fame.
Like DDP or Vader. A lot of guys they can since Savage is going to be a posthumous induction. They've got to make sure their star power is in check. Like I think it means bringing DDP out, Vader, as you said, Lex Luger, and why not Sting, the elephant in the room? Like, put Sting in. Who cares if he's never
I
wrestled in
don't
WWE?
They usually wait till the career is done before they induct them, don't they? It's very rare that they'll go in the Hall of Fame while you're still active. I think Sting will probably
One
go
other
in next
guy.
year. Yeah, just
One
one
other
guy.
guy. Have you ever heard of Danny Hodge?
Yes, of course.
Danny Hodge needs to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like,
Is
he's,
he still
the
not in the
baddest
WWE
man
Hall of Fame?
ever.
Wow, former NWA champion Danny Hodge. Yes, of course.
Danny
Uh,
Hodge. Yes,
yeah.
that's my one.
I like that, Rich. You're demonstrating something here. You're showing you're an old school fan. You know, you're a historian. You're like Matt
Oh
Striker. You've done
man.
your homework. I like it.
I just started hearing all the crazy Danny Hodge stories, so this is another thing for all the listeners. Check out Danny Hodge can crush an apple right now. He's in his 80s or something. He can crush an
Wow.
apple with his bare hands. So next time you think you're a real man or woman, why don't you go pick up an apple and see how hard that is to do? He
Well,
has like those vice grips, those real shooter hands.
I don't know what the apples are like in the States, but the ones here in the UK are very hard to crush, I can promise you.
Yeah.
They're hard enough to bite into, man. So, yeah, that's a great shout, Danny Hodges. Well, there's so many, I mean, you can go back in time, and there's so many other shouts, but ultimately we come back, and we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger going in. Might be an interesting speech, I guess, at the very least. They'll get a bit of press, even though I don't know if Arnie's that newsworthy anymore. He's got that Terminator film coming out. Yeah, he's been around. He's been around the block. He's done a few things. He's got I think he's done the best of what he's going to do at this point. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's movie, I loved him, and I think he probably wasn't the worst governor in the world while he was there for California. But I'm not a Californian, so don't ask me. Dude, we've still got some time, so let's talk a little bit about Fastlane. I wanted to ask you your thoughts on the card so far. So the card at the moment looks like this. You've got in the main event John Cena and Rusev for the United. Well, it's not for the United States Championship. It's not been clarified yet. I assume it's another non-title match because why bother putting a title on the main event? And then you've got the Divas match, which I think is Nikki Bella against Paige, and the other match, the other confrontation confirmed is Sting and Triple H meeting face to face. Now I know it's a free month for the WWE Network, so they won't go out of their way to have like a crazy, must-see, star power-packed card. But even so, it feels really light to me. What do you think?
I feel like they're usually in these free months, they try to do something that makes the fans really, really happy. Like they got rid of the Authority for a month, probably because of two reasons. They knew they were going to switch, back to the status quo as soon as that trial run was over, and also Stephanie and Triple H probably just wanted to go on vacation for for December. So and then it came back, So look for something big to happen that fans will enjoy. Like I'd rather Sting just come out there while Triple H is running them down, actually bring the bat, point at the WrestleMania sign, and walk out. Like that's all that would need to happen.
Just a simple confrontation, like Undertaker Triple H style from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Actually, that would be pretty cool. And I guess we're not going to see Brock Lesnar at this pay-per-view, which is fine. I guess he's a big attraction man. But I guess that means that we're only going to see one more Brock Lesnar match in this WWE run, unless they sign him to a longer contract, which at this point seems unlikely. There's rumblings about him going into MMA again. I know I interviewed Bobby Lashley this week, and Bobby told me. Oh, thanks, man. Thank you so much. It was good fun. He's a great guy, and he told me he's desperate for a fight with Brock Lesnar, and he could make it happen in loads of different ways. So Lesnar's got options. Do you think WWE should break the bank and make sure they keep Lesnar on for a while?
Yes. As people may have noticed, people really like Brock Lesnar. The sporadic appearances kind of wore me out on him. And it just depends who you work him against. You can't have him in there lumbering against another big guy. You got to keep him in there with guys like Rollins or Bryan, or you've got to take the leash off. You have to have no disqualification matches. He can't go out there and have regular no rules matches anymore. It's just not going to be exciting. It's just going to be German suplex, German suplex, German suplex, German suplex over and over and over and over again. But he's a big deal. He's unlike anyone they've ever had. And and he brings. You look at the screen and you just get afraid, like, hey, he might hurt somebody, and not too many of their guys on the roster have that, and he'll sell his ass off too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lesnar is fantastic as an all-rounder. He's got the look, he's got the aura. If he'd never gone off to play NFL football in the first place, God knows what WWE wrestling, or indeed all of wrestling, would look like at this point. But yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I could go with that. Rich, we're coming towards the end of the podcast, dude. It's been so much fun having you. Before you go, I want to ask yesterday's yesterday's Award of the Day question, and I did get a right answer. I'm going to see if you know the answer to this, by the way. The question was that in November of 1997, there was a wrestler who appeared on both Monday Night Raw and Monday Nitro at the same time. Do you know who that was?
Ravishing Rick Rude.
Is the correct answer. Well done, my friend. Well done, my friend. I guess easy
what
for
I would
you.
like to have is for all the fat and out of shape, inner city sweat hogs, to keep the noise down, while my man Atif, shows you guys what it is, shows you what a real man sounds like.
Sounds like. Yeah, I'm so glad he didn't say looks like, man. I haven't hit the gym in a while. So that's cool. Ravishing Recruit is exactly the correct answer. So very well done to Alan Wilkins, who emailed us the right answer. You are today's Dean Douglas Award winner of the day. So well done. And we always do a match of the day, and Arman is still away in Europe enjoying himself, making a movie somewhere. God, man, I just detest that. It makes me sick. Anyway, maybe he'll get picked up by WWE Studios. But anyway, so since he's away, and I've been doing match of the days for the last few days, let's have one from you, Rich. Have you got a match of the day for us?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it. If guys have the New Japan Pro Wrestling World Service, if not, try to find it on YouTube. I'll put you on to the 5-star classic that was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kota Ibushi from Wrestle Kingdom 9. Check that out, and tweet me at Dangerous32 if you haven't seen it already. Watch it and let me know what you think, because I was blown away. It was a 22-minute masterpiece.
Yeah, I've seen that match. I saw the Wrestle Kingdom 9. It was absolutely phenomenal. That's a heck of a match and a cracking choice for match of the day. I've got to tell you. In fact, I think that was Arman's first ever New Japan event, Wrestle Kingdom 9, and he absolutely loved it. And now we're kind of getting more into it. It's hard to. We don't have New Japan World over here, but in the UK, I know you can watch Wrestle Kingdom 9 still on the Flips app. So if you've got an Android phone or an iPhone, you can download the Flips app and watch it on there legally. And if you don't watch it on there, or you want to find it some other way, hey, do what you got to do, guys. So, hey, Rich, thank you so much again for coming on. Your podcast is called One Nation Radio.
One Nation Radio. You can go right to iTunes, type that in, and subscribe. We're 69 episodes in. We don't have the perseverance to do everyday shows like Play-by-Play, but we'll go, once a week, maybe, once every 2 weeks, and we try to bring, a comedic perspective, but at times the perfect balance of comedy and fact and hard-hitting stuff. Stuff makes you think, and we play like a lot of, we have some, skits, and we have some fun, and, check it out.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, absolutely, guys and girls. Make sure you check out One Sports Radio. It's awesome, and you can subscribe to it on iTunes. You can follow Rich at DangerRich32 on Twitter. He's fantastic. Thank you so much, man. You've been a fantastic guest. Hopefully we can get you on again at some point. Definitely. So I don't have to do solos while Arman is busy being a movie star. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on Monday with more Play-by-Play. We'll be previewing Raw. We'll be talking a little bit more about the WrestleMania 31 card. And we're going to be talking a little bit about the 2K15 video game and some secrets I found out about it. So join us then. And until then, from myself and from Rich, goodbye.
Peace.